Right then people, what is going on, and welcome back to the channel. Excited is not the word, because I am with Stuart at SC Performance stripping down the Aston Martin, and it is finally getting painted. Now, I have been ran through the mill a little bit trying to get this painted. I have had various companies reach out to me, say they want to paint it. Certain lead times, I've been waiting weeks and weeks and weeks, finally to have them cancel because they've had other work come in. Some companies even offered to paint it for free. One of my big things about owning an Aston Martin is I don't want to be paying Aston Martin tax. If I want someone to paint my car, I want to be paying for a quality spray guy. I don't want to be paying for a guy that is good at spraying that then adds an additional amount on top of it because it is for an Aston Martin. Painting's painting, and if you've got someone that is good at painting, he should charge you the same for a Vauxhall Corsa as he should do for an Aston Martin. Obviously, certain things can cost more, as in different qualities of paint, etc. But for the time and hours labour, that sort of stuff, it should be a similar price. Now I am stood in front of this heater, it is very cold today, and I have recently taken my beard off, so my face is feeling very tender indeed. But first thing is, I'm going to strip the front end of this Aston down, which it has been a while ago since I took it to bits, but hopefully it comes apart a little bit more smoothly than it did in the first video when it was smashed to pieces. At least I don't have to worry about things under pressure pinging out and hitting me in the face this time. And the scheme of how we're going to do this is we're going to leave the good wing, or the nearly good wing, in situ. I'll just walk you around to it now. So we have a little bit of damage just here, so we're going to try and repair that in situ, I guess. Now we could take it off, but I think for the most part is we're going to try and paint the parts that obviously need a colour change. They're going to come off fully because we want to paint the inside of the part. One of the key things about me doing this project is I want to get to the end of the project and I want there to be no evidence that it has been in an accident. Of course, I've made all the evidence on YouTube, but I want to be able to own this car and be content that there's no compromises whatsoever. Luckily enough, Stuart also owns a Vantage, and he is also modifying it himself. So taking this to bits, getting it all painted up, should be no task between the two of us. And one thing we are also working on is a little bit of a project. We're going to do a little bit of a decap park for this. Now, Stuart also owns another company that is called Titan Exhaust, and they are exceptional at making exhaust, and I've seen some of his work, and you can see the Evo in the background there. He does specialise in performance cars, and he's had a lot of magazine features, but hopefully we're going to use some of his skills and some of his knowledge combined with some of the stuff I've been learning on my motorsports degree, and we're going to make you guys an exceptional decap part that's going to replace the secondary cats for a much more reasonable price that doesn't have Aston Martin tax associated with it. That is going to be a later video, but if you do want to see that, then please do subscribe down below, and you should see that video come up in the near future. But with all that said, let's get this car stripped down. Let's start with the easy bit. I'm going to get this bonnet off and save the difficult bits so when Stuart gets back. Right then, so we got the front end stripped down now. That is about as far as we're going to go with the strip down on the front end. I've got the pieces just set to the side there. I need to remove all the intricate bits from the panel, so the grills, the indicators, that sort of stuff. I've also removed the indicator and the side strake from the passenger side. I'm going to leave that in situ because that's not badly damaged, it just needs a bit of tidying up, but where it's going to get clear coated at the end, It's better to remove that sort of stuff so we don't get lines around it should it ever be removed or should it move during transit. One thing that we have noticed though is, I'm just going to pick the tripod up here, this rear bumper has had, and I'm not even sure if the camera will pick it up, basically this has been reversed into something at some point, and it's just got like clear coat cracking. It's nothing that is like too bad, but I don't know if you can see that. And anyway, for the plans, what we've got for this, that is not going to be satisfactory. So Stuart has said that we'll take the bumper off, we'll get it tidied up anyway. So I'm going to take the bumper off, remove all the lights, all the reversing sensors, just to make that job a little bit cleaner. So next task, something I've not done before, is removing this rear bumper. Let's get straight. Right then people, so yesterday I had a day off. I had some personal stuff that came up, but Stuart was away working hard in my absence, and I'll just run you through some of the stuff that he's done. So he's tidied up the side skirt here. The way he's repaired that is he's plastic welded it, but he's also put a bit of support behind it as well, just to, you know, stop the cracks from ever showing through again. Maybe a little bit overkill, but he wants to make sure that this is never going to present any cracks from, because he just had two little slits there. So he's put a little bit of a metal and glued it into the back there. On the wing just here, this repair's gone nicely, so he's primed that all up. He's dug it out and filled it back in. Some bad news, well, good news, bad news is Stuart's not happy not painting the door. So obviously I wanted to do this in a budget friendly manner, but Stuart, being the perfectionist that he is, he says he would be able to blend it in this little small area here, but he doesn't really want to. He wants to make sure it is 100%. For those that don't know Stuart, he is an enthusiast in his own right. There's his Vantage just parked over there. So yeah, he does take a lot of pride in his work, and he's convinced me that I should do the doors as well. So bad news, a little bit of bad news, because now it's going to take a little bit longer, but the good news is that the vehicle is going to be 100%, and you know, because he does want to do that, he's doing me a little bit of a discount on the doors, just so he can be, you know, 100% satisfied that the vehicle is leaving his workshop in the best condition it possibly can. So both doors now need stripping out, so I need to remove the door cards. So I'm going to be looking through the manuals for that. We're also taking the wing mirrors and the wing mirror, what do you call that? Wing mirror holders, the wing mirror arms, they're going to get removed. The wing mirror arms are going to get removed. There's not much corrosion, but there's a very finite amount of corrosion there. It's not a problem, that could be touched up, but while we're getting it all stripped down as we are, we may as well give them a coat. And Stuart was saying the issue is with these is, because they're just powder coated straight onto aluminium, there's no real prep work, so we're going to paint them this time, not powder coat them, but he's going to do the right prep work for aluminium, so these should never corrode again in the future. Then moving on to the grille, I am still sitting on the fence whether I want to fit the V12 grille. I do want to fit it, but also I hate it when I see repaired cars and, you know, you get a crashed Audi A6 and then it gets the front end replaced and it looks like an Audi RS6 without the badges. I'm not a massive fan of repairs that go on like that. I feel like they look a bit cheap. I do like the V12 grille, and if it wasn't an accident damaged car, I would 100% put it on. But I feel like because it's an accident damaged car, I need to get this back to 100% standard. I say that with a pinch of salt because the grills are black at the moment. There's my little box of parts. The grills are all black, and they were done pretty poorly. So Stuart's going to redo those as well. We've got my little cheat sheet here of all the bolts I've taken off. I went through that in my earlier videos. That's something I like to do just to make the assembly a little bit easier. I've also got a Aston front splitter that mounts onto the existing splitter. Still unsure how that mounts exactly, but that needs doing. We've also got the rear bumper here, and now it's off, we might be able to see the cracks what I was just talking about. It is so fine. You know, I can't even see them at all myself here. I don't know if the camera's going to pick this up, but it's basically in these edges here. Basically the bumper has been shunted at one point in time, and yeah, it's showing some cracks up. Now that is a relatively small job for Stuart, but the big job is all this bumper needs stripping down, the carbon needs taking off, all the lights need taken out, everything needs removing from this bumper. Also, aside to that, we're going to give my carbon fibre bits, so these bits, another coat of clear coat, just to give them that extra pop, what they probably had from the factory. And also just another protection coat, because they're quite valuable pieces. I think that carbon fibre rear diffuser on this N420 is possibly one of the most valuable bits, other than the steering rack, but I might have to replace. Into the booth, so Stuart has been hard at work. He was actually at work till 10 o'clock last night doing this. I was all tucked up in bed and Stuart was sending me messages of him painting this. Made me feel a little bit guilty. But he built a metal frame for the bumper to give it a bit more structure while he's painting it, because for anyone that doesn't know, these are the most flexible bumpers you've ever come across. The bumper needed fully redoing again. You know, he needed to take this right back and start again. The issue were that, in Stuart's opinion, the red car I got these parts from, they were replacement parts, genuine Aston Martin parts, but he thinks the manner in which they've been painted, obviously Stuart does a lot of work on cars and he knows what sort of primer colours they use and that sort of stuff, and he says the manner in which these have been painted were not standard Aston Martin. So when Stuart hit the bumper with some air, it just started popping off. You know, it wasn't something that Aston Martin would have let roll out their factory, not like that anyway. He also has sprayed the inside of the wings, so he's coloured them and clear coated them. That is so when the bonnet is open, we can't see any of the old colour. That is something that maybe your cheap resprays would miss, but in this instance we've got it sorted. We did have a slight kink on the front bumper here, and Stuart has managed to get the majority of that out. There's a little bit more work that needs to go into that. And also he has done the underside of the bonnet. Again, we've removed everything. Well, I say we. Stuart's removed everything in my absence. And he's painted the underside of the bonnet. You know, you're not going to see this, but I just wanted no remnants of the existing colour on. So this is all going to get covered by the fabric, the heat. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Anyway, the bit of fabric that goes under the bonnet. So the next job for me is I'm going to remove the door cards. Then we can remove the lock and the door handle. Then we can remove the wing mirrors and the wing mirror holders. And then we can start prepping everything. And hopefully we can get some paint laid down by the end of today. Wish me luck. So then, what is going on, people? Another day. Again, apologies for the lines going across the camera. I definitely need to learn how to rectify this. If you do know a little bit about cameras and you can tell me how to fix this, then please do let me know, because I recently invested quite a lot on camera equipment and it's not that great that it's got lines across it. The vehicle is in the booth getting titivated by Stuart. He's just taking a few of the nibs off what landed in the paint, or just some minor issues what he's making adjustments to. Other than that, it's gone down like glass. It's a really nice finish. I'll get some shots of it in a while. While Stuart is doing that, I am prepping the carbon work. So I've got all the, fortunately, the carbon side strake, which was on the crash side, was salvageable. I say salvageable, it wasn't damaged at all. What we are doing is, although the carbon is all fantastic, it's all fine, these are very expensive pieces of carbon, and I'm quite aware of how old they are. They have lost a little bit of the shine. Now normally we could easily just polish those and give them the shine back, but while we're clear coating everything anyway, we thought to put an extra layer of clear coat onto these, just to add that additional, if I damage it in the future, there's a little bit more of product on top of it. That means I can machine polish it back and still maintain the original carbon underneath. I guess it's a little bit like with PPF in it. We're just adding another layer on there to absorb any damage that might occur in the future. So I'm going to flat all these back, ready for Stuart to put some clear coat on. So then, this is a level of detail that we're going to on this vehicle repair, and some of the bolts that are inside the wheel arch have a remnant of red on because the original ones were damaged, so we've had to take the ones from the donor car. Now I'm going to clean all this red off these bolts. Hopefully when we get to the end of this, no one's going to be able to tell that it's ever been repaired, and that's how deep and efficient we're going with this repair job. You could do it a lot cheaper than what I'm paying for. And things like inside of the panels won't get painted, that sort of stuff, but I want it fully back to how it were. So yeah, I'm gonna have to get deep in the details and clean up stuff like this that houses the original paint on. So that's just finished putting the front quarter glass in, and the door handle and door lock, and let me tell you, that door lock is an absolute nightmare. Whoever was tasked doing that in the Gaydon era in the Aston Martin factory, if I ever meet you, I'm going to buy you a beer, because that was well hard unless you've got spaghetti for fingers. But now I can get the door cards back on. I've got to do that all again on the other side. I didn't record it because that took about 3 hours, and you don't want to watch me trying to fumble a lock in for 3 hours, but it was a long task. Realistically, should have removed the glass, but hindsight's beautiful. If you remove the glass, you can get access from the top. But yeah, did it the hard way, as always. Loads of help from Stuart, but we're getting there slowly. Right then, people, so we got to the point where I was going to fit the front splitter. So as you can see here, I'll just focus on it. As you can see here, I've fitted, this is just a standard front splitter. Obviously the N420 splitter got damaged in the accident, and it's not a special splitter, but the N420 variant is quite expensive. So I decided to go aftermarket, and I thought that Maxton Designs were, a relatively good middle ground. They're not too expensive. The quality's not insane. It's obviously not carbon fibre or anything like that. But usually, from what I know, they usually fit quite well. Now, in this instance, it doesn't fit very well at all. So I've got the splitter just set where it's meant to be. It's just placed there, it's not screwed in or anything like that. As you can see, the fitment actually requires that you leave the old splitter in place. Which is a little bit disappointing because that old splitter is crap. So Stuart's repaired the old splitter, and then we've come to place this on, and the fitment is that bad. I don't know whether it's designed for a different one, but you can see where, there's nowhere to screw down to here. There's just a void. Just going to hold that in place there. There's just a void here. You can see on the back side where they're expecting you to put a little bit of a self-tapper in, and normally Maxton splitters are held in place with self-tappers. That's not unusual, but it just doesn't fit very well at all. It looks like it probably should fit well, but it just doesn't. And I know what you're saying, I know what you're thinking looking at that, is that original splitter should come off, but trust me, it doesn't. That is just how it is. We tried it first without the original splitter and it just fouls on these tabs underneath. And I'm not grinding tabs off an Aston Martin bumper to fit a £179 splitter. So that's where we're at. Maxton Design splitter doesn't really fit. It's probably designed for a different bumper. It's probably in a small print. It's probably all my fault that it doesn't fit, to be honest. Probably designed for a different model, different era. The bumpers do change from year to year on this. So I guess now I'm going to be seeing if I can get Alistair to do me one of his fiberglass splitters. But for now we're just going to fit it with its factory splitter. Plough on, because we are a little bit behind. I think it's going on for 9 o'clock in the workshop here and it's still not fully together. So that is the vehicle finished, for now at least. Unfortunately, I'm not able to continue working on this. This has been a long day. This has been a 14-hour day. Obviously taken a lot longer than I planned, but you can just see the sort of finish what we've got now. And Stuart's going to go around and titivate some more, but you know, I'm more than happy with the finish that's here now. It's just Stuart being the perfectionist that he is, that he's just going to go around and make some small amendments. But as you can see, all the rear end's looking tidy. And I'm especially happy with the carbon. The extra layers of clear coat, what he's added onto that have just really made it pop. And I guess it was looking a bit faded from the years it's had on the road, but now it's looking probably like it just rolled out of the factory. In fact, I think the hours that we've just put into getting the fitment correct, I reckon the fitment is better than it were when it rolled out of the factory, because some of the adjustments we've made, you know, the in some cases they're outside of the spec what it came with. You know, we've added washers to make the headlights fit a little bit more flush, which were just not how it came from the factory, which is how we managed to get such a clean gap all the way around. And for anyone that's fitted these headlights, you'll know how awkward it is to get that gap there. But yeah, really happy with the finish. Final touches. The grill slats, they're getting painted. Obviously the registration plate needs to go on. The badge needs to go on. We had a bit of trouble with this wing mirror mount. Basically, they are riv nutted into there, and I'll just focus it. Riv nutted into there, and that riv nut is just spinning. It's not been done very well. So that's going to need tightening, and then all of this side can go back together, and the inner door core can go back on. Got our remaining parts in there. Again, some lovely shiny carbon on the side. And then yeah, that should be the car done. And then it moves on to the modification stage, because I did always say, you know, I like modifying my cars. This is why I made the YouTube channel. I do like to make things different. But before I start making this different, I had to get it back to the standard that it was at. I didn't want to invest lots of money on modifying a car that was ultimately bent. So I just wanted to make sure 100% everything is as it should be before I start investing money in. And I think it just goes to show that I've probably been very lucky with this build, because nothing is bent. But I've also been very fortunate that people that I've met along the way that have offered their expert advice to get the car to what it's looking like now. There is going to be a bigger reveal video in the future once I've got it all detailed and it's looking shiny and fresh, because it has been undergoing a bit of neglect in my ownership. I've not cleaned the inside once, and I've put quite a few miles on it, and there's just a few other things I want to do, such as the engine mount, stuff like that. So stick around on the channel. Thanks for watching so far. If you haven't already, please do subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.